So I was recently in a Discord call with two people, and they happened to see my manga haul, and they said, "Oh, you have this manga?" And the manga they saw was Gigant. Now, this is a very wild and very weird manga. It's by the same creator that gave us Gantz and Inushiki, whatever that one is. You know, the one where the guy goes like bang.
Bang. Bang.
And he blows people up. So it's by that same creator. So if you've seen those two anime or read the manga, you know how weird and wild those series are. But let's get into what Gigant is about, because it's very out there, and it's very out there. So I'll give you just a short little brief summary, then we're going to detail about like what is like the main stuff that happens in like the first few volumes or chapters or whatever. But yeah, basically it follows this guy, and he's in high school, and just know he's very obsessed with corn star, we'll say that. And eventually he's gonna date the corn star because of stuff happens and all that. And you also find out that the corn star can turn into a giant woman. And on top of that, there's this app that allows people to basically vote on anything they want, and it allows them to basically summon these things, and it's kind of destroying the world. Like sometimes they summon demon lords, sometimes they summon devils and all that, and it's up to the corn star to turn into a giant woman and fight them. Yes, there are other stuff that comes into the story, because there are other people that can turn into giant people, but that's way later into the story. But let's get into like the actual what this manga is about, because if it's ever got an anime, it would be one of them weird ones that people would be like, what are you watching? Because it's out there. So let's talk about some of the key points that happen in the story. So the main character, his name is Ray, and he basically always wanted to be a kind of like a movie director, like a Hollywood type of movie director, mainly because like his dad's a director, but he always wanted to make like a big shot movie. Just know eventually you're gonna find out that he's obsessed with this corn star named Poppy Co, whatever her name is. Yeah, something along those Poppy Co. And the thing about this is that we find out that she's basically living in his town. He finds out because he sees a big sign just hanging up at his city, like when he's randomly walking, and he sees people talking about it on the internet. And then eventually he goes out to like tear these signs down, and that's when he happens to run into her, because you know, coincidences happen like that. They end up talking and all that, and they become friends a little bit. What we learn about her is that she kind of has an abusive boyfriend, and also she is a corn star and all that. We know that. And just know one day when she's walking the street, she's gonna see some old man, or just like an older gentleman, we'll say. He's on the ground and he's bleeding, and she's trying to like call an ambulance, but the guy's talking to her, and then eventually puts this weird circle thing that's like right here by her arm. And when she goes home, she goes to the bathroom, and next thing you know, she's like all the way filling up in the bathroom because she grows big. And then this is where her boyfriend's like, "Oh, we can use this in our corn." And that's when they use her like that, and they have her turn to a giant woman. It's weird, yeah. Just know that's like the whole thing. She finds that she has the powers to turn to a giant woman, and she uses some skills. And it's gonna lead to her becoming a movie star, them making a movie with her, showing her giant skills. It's ridiculous. Like, this manga, my bad, is all over the place. This manga is like so damn all over the place, and there's so much random stuff happening. So one of the wildest scenes that's in here is when it comes to Ray and Papiko, is that she wants to show him that she can turn into a giant woman. She invites him over. The boyfriend comes. The boyfriend wants to hurt Ray because, you know, he's mad and all that. Like, "Oh, why do you got another man at our house?" or whatever. She's going to defend Ray. And later on, Ray's going to, like, ask her out and be like, "Oh, I'm in love with you," and all that. He's like, "Will you please go out with me?" And that's when she's like, "I'll think about it." They meet at a restaurant. She tells him, "Yo, I would rather us be friends." This boy, Ray, gets to crying. Yes, he is a high school student, but look, he gets to crying. And I mean bawling his eyes out, and until she basically feels sad for him and she accepts him. So when it comes to Ray asking out Papiko, and he asks her like, "Oh, have you thought about it?" and she proceeds to say like, "Oh, we should be friends. I want to be friends forever." And Ray proceeds to cry for 6 pages, and he's crying loudly. Everybody in the restaurant's just over here looking like, "What is this noise?" And then just know him crying, eventually he pulls her, because she's like, okay, fine, we can go out. It's ridiculous. And be like, "Yeah, sure, we can date." Yeah, it was ridiculous, bruh. I've never seen nothing like this. This is some crazy riz. This is basically that crying riz, where you cry and sob so much that you sob story a woman into dating you. It's wild. It was one of the funniest things I've read in a manga in a while, because this man was really crying, and he somehow pulled it off. And just know, they gonna do some stuff, because this is spicy. just know my man's about to have his soul sucked out of him. And I mean, it happens. That's the first thing that happens. And just know there's going to be smash, and that happens in here. And it's going to happen occasionally in here. But just know she's going to eventually become like a big shot movie star because she's the one that takes out them weird, big old enemy things that are coming. So another thing that's like a very important thing about this story is there's an app called ETE, and it basically means enjoy the end. And with this app, it allows people basically to vote on anything they want. The first time this happens, it happens to like rain like blood and guts and all that. And that's like the first thing people do, and people on the internet not believing this is real. But then what happens is people summon these big old monster type of things, and they're destroying the world and all that because they're fighting. That's where Papiko ends up fighting them. One of like the main things that happens in here is like there's a demon lord that's summoned, and it basically like messes up all America, and it's walking all the way to Japan. And that's where Papiko has to fight it, along with some help that she's going to eventually get in the future, because there's a whole nother plot line where the reason why she can turn big is because the little circle thing she has is people from the future that are trying to save this world, because there's this stupid computer that's up in outer space, and that's the reason that's connected to the app, and that's the way like it's summoning these big things. Like I said, it's a weird out there series. If you want to read some trippy stuff, if you like Gantz and all in the other one, then you'll probably enjoy this because it's by the same creator. But it's very weird and trippy with some of the randomness. Yes, there's a lot of, you know, spicy stuff in here. Yes, there's a lot of like fights. And then it's also a giant woman, and just know she has no type of clothes that fit her when she turns into a giant woman. So she's a naked giant woman. So yeah, if you've read this series, let me know how you feel about it. If you've not read it, maybe you might want to check it out. You can buy these physically. I think there's 10 volumes that are like basically, that's like the whole series of 10 volumes. I'm pretty sure it's like either 10 or 11. I don't remember exactly, but somewhere around there. But yeah, this series is out there. If you've read this, let me know how you feel about it. If you've not read it, maybe check it out. But yeah, it's basically a giant woman that's a corn star and a guy that cries, and basically they get together, and it's wild. Because I mean, he is a high school student. That's why she was kind of like, no, I want to be friends. But this man started crying, and then some reason his Riz was going crazy that day, I guess, and it panned out. But yeah, this one is a very wild manga. I remember picking this up just because I went to Barnes and Noble, and I was like, oh, this is wrapped in plastic. Let me see what this is about. Then I picked it up, saw what it was, and I was like, I guess I'll read it. And then I ended up collecting it. I only got like 8 volumes. I don't have the last 2 or 3 or whatever, but I'll probably pick them up sometime in the future, but not right now though. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, and if you didn't enjoy, you can dislike, subscribe, really enjoyed. But yeah, this series is alright, but it's not like the best thing ever. But I think it's a really interesting, trippy one that has a lot of interesting concepts in it, especially the app, and then the computer, and then a lady turning into a giant woman, and her being a corn star, and Cuz being obsessed with this corn star, and it actually pans out for him is hilarious though. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in this video though. Bye.